Let's learn how to make our very own bias tape. Hi, I'm Lara, one of the owners and designers here at Rivet Patterns, and today I'm going to show you how to make your very own bias tape. I don't really use, this is single fold bias tape right here. I don't use it as often as I use double fold, and you know how much difference there is? This is single fold, this is double fold. It's that simple. Let's make our bias tape. Now, I have a fat quarter here, and I've got on this end here, hopefully you can see here, it's the selvage. So the selvage are the two ends of the fabric that are not cut, right? So they come off the bolt. They're the finished ends. So this is a finished end. And this would be a finished end as well. This end and that end are the cut ends, right? If I pull from selvage to selvage, no, I get no stretch. If I pull from cut edge to cut edge, I get no stretch. If I pull from corner to corner, I get stretch, right? And this is important with quilting cottons because, especially for binding, I can think of several bag patterns or clothing patterns where you're binding on a curve. Now, if you're binding a straight edge, you can use from selvage to selvage because you're not trying to make a curve or a shape. Now, if you're doing a curve, you need it to stretch because that's going to give it the ability to smooth around that curve. So, for example, the Cadence barrel bag in the from our patterns, it has a curved side. Let me show you the curved side. All right, so here, right here is an example. This is the end. This is just one of my muslins that I made. This is the end of the of the barrel bag, the Cadence barrel bag. So you can see right here we have, it's flat here, but it's curved all the way around. Now, if I turn this wrong side out, you will see very quickly that it is not finished. Here's what it looks like on the inside when it's unfinished, right? So we have to finish, it's straight across here, but it's curved here. And in order to get your binding to work the way you want it to work and look smooth, it has to have just a tiny bit of stretch. So that's why we make bias tape, so it has a little bit of stretch. However, if I show you the legato bag that we have here, this is also one of our patterns, you see that all of the binding is straight, right? So I don't necessarily need it to be cut on the bias. Now, can I use it cut on the bias? Of course. Of course I can. All of your store-bought bias tape or your binding is going to be cut on the bias. It just makes life a whole lot easier. So these are examples of how I use bias tape on bag patterns. Now, it is used in clothing patterns as well. I just don't have any examples of those today. So let's make our very own bias tape. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up to where I have my selvages on my left and my right. My cut ends are up and down. My selvages are to the left and right. So let's grab a bottom corner here, the selvage here, and we're going to fold it up and we're going to make a triangle. All right, so we've got a triangle happening here. We're matching this selvage to this raw edge up here. All right, there you have it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut off this excess. You can use scissors or you can use a rotary cutter. It's totally up to you, whatever you like to do. Okay, so we've made our cut. Let's open this up, and now we have a square. All right, and we know that this is where our stretch is, and this is where our stretch is. Okay, so what I want to do first is I want to cut a straight line down the diagonal. What I will do, I will use scissors for that, and so I'm gonna fold it back. Okay, so now we've got two triangles. I'm going to fold those, meet those points, and then I'm going to do like a right angle here, just like this, okay? So you just want to match everything up best you can here. All right, so this is the edge I just cut. So for a 1/2 inch double fold binding, I'm going to cut 2-inch strips. For a 1/2 inch single fold, I'm going to cut a 1-inch strip. So let's start here here's what we've got. We've got a bunch of 2-inch strips for 1/2 inch double fold binding. All right, so we've got a bunch of them. The goal here with joining our strips is to make a right angle. So what I need to do, what I do not want to do is this, right sides together. No, 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 we do not want to do that. We need these to be a right angle, because if you cut those or you sew those just like that, let me show you what will happen. Okay, I'm going to put a couple clips here. We're going to pretend that I sewed there. Okay, I'll just do one. And so I'll open this and it will not, there we go. It will make a right angle, and I want it to be one long straight piece. So the way to fix that is to put them at a right angle, so when you open them, they create a straight edge. So here's the right angle. You are lining this up right sides together, but it's point at this end and point at this end, and you have a right angle here. So that when you sew it, let me do that, it comes out like this, and you have a straight line. So you will sew 1/4 inch seam allowance here. We'll put this under our presser foot here. And so we've got, as you can see, hold on, let me get this down here. We've got a right angle here. All right, so I'm going to stitch down that. Now I'm using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I am back stitching. Not everybody back stitches. I just don't like my seams to come apart. Okay, so here we've got this. And you can see when I open it up, it's going to be straight. See how it's not angled? It is a straight, it's a straight line here, okay? And then you will add another piece. So again, you don't want to do it this way, right? You want to do it this way. Now notice, this is the thing that was always confusing for me when I first learned how to do this. And even sometimes my brain still doesn't want to compute it. So this piece came down this way, this piece went up that way to make that right angle. So then I will stitch across that and open that up, and I have a straight piece. Bring that down, grab another piece of bias binding, or my bias strip, and we're going to do this. All right, so it went in the opposite direction. Instead of going up, it comes down. That's one of the things that helped me as my brain was confusing this as a beginner. It helped me a lot. Okay, so since that one went down, the next one's gonna go up. That piece is gonna go up. I'm gonna stitch it at a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and bam. Okay, once you've done that and you've used up all your strips, you're then going to go to your iron and you're going to press open all of your seams. So press all the seams open. All right, so now what we need to do is pull out some supplies here. Now, depending on the size of bias tape you're making, that will determine what supplies you need. You could buy these little guys on Amazon, Walmart, you can buy them anywhere. You do not have to have these in order to make bias tape, but here's like 4 different sizes here. Okay, these make single fold binding, or single fold bias tape, I should say. All right, I'm going to use the biggest one. This is going to make me some single fold binding. With the wrong side up, so you want your seam up, you're going to take your fabric through this end. So there we go. So you could see it's folded both edges in, right? So this is where you take your iron and you press it. And this is how I do it. I move my bias tape maker. Now, additionally, you can fold your fabric to the inside, to the wrong side, 1/2 inch-ish, and then fold it again. Okay, so the beauty of having one of these little guys is that it just makes your life easier. It makes it take a whole lot less time. Right now we have a single fold binding. I want to make it double fold, so I've got to fold it in like this. Okay, here we have it. We have a very long piece of double fold bias tape, and you can see it's got some stretch to it. This is going to help around any curves. Doesn't that look lovely? Well, now that you know how to make your own bias tape, you can make every kind of beautiful bias tape you can think of. You don't have to go to the store and buy the plain colors. You can make beautiful bias tape to really add some lovely dimension to every single one of your makes that require bias binding. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and you will join me again next time. See you soon. Bye.